What's up, YouTube? Different video, studying the knowledge of thyself, how the universe works, the law of attraction, the law of the universe, all above. So, let's go.
Once asked me what her life is now one of poverty, of limitation.
Breaking down all this shit for you.
Formerly, she had a home, was surrounded by beautiful things, and had often tired of the management of her home, and had said repeatedly, "I'm sick and tired of things. I wish I lived in a trunk." And she added, "Today I am living in that trunk." She had spoken herself into a trunk. The subconscious mind has no sense of humor, and people often joke themselves into unhappy experiences. For example, a woman who had a great deal of money joked continually about getting ready for the poorhouse. In a few years, she was almost destitute, having impressed the subconscious mind with a picture of lack and limitation. Fortunately, the law works both ways, and a situation of lack may be changed to one of plenty. For example, a woman came to me one hot summer's day for a treatment for prosperity. She was worn out, dejected, and discouraged. She said she possessed just $8 in the world. I said, "Good. We'll bless the $8 and multiply them as Jesus Christ multiplied the loaves and fishes. For he taught that every man had the power to bless and to multiply, to heal and to prosper." She said, "What shall I do next?" I replied, "Follow intuition."
That's all you gotta do.
My name is Jeff Slavsky, and I am an investor in tech companies, primarily based in the Midwest. So try to find great emerging entrepreneurs.
Intuition. Have you a hunch to do anything or to go anywhere? Intuition means intuition, or to be taught from within. It is man's unerring guide, and I will deal more fully with its laws in a following chapter. The woman replied, "I don't know. I seem to have a hunch to go home. I've just enough money for coffee." Her home was in a distant city and was one of lack and limitation, and the reasoning mind, or intellect, would have said, "Stay in New York and get work and make some money." I replied, "Then go home. Never violate a hunch." I spoke the following words for her. Infinite Spirit, open the way for great abundance, for she is an irresistible magnet for all that belongs to her by divine right. I told her to repeat it continually also. She left for home immediately. In calling on a woman one day, she linked up with an old friend of her family. Through this friend, she received thousands of dollars in a most miraculous way. She has said to me often, "Tell people about the woman who came to you with $8 and a hunch." There is always plenty on man's pathway, but it can only be brought into manifestation through desire, faith, or the spoken word. Jesus Christ brought out clearly that man must make the first move. Ask, and it shall be given. Seek, and ye shall find. Knock.
Do you hear this? This is real true stuff. Like, this is no magic trick, make believe, you know what I mean, fairy tale stuff. This is coming from the Bible, and I'm trying to break down to how you can manifest anything you want in your life by just keep asking, keep saying it. I want to be the greatest ... ever. You feel what I'm saying? Whatever it may be is on your affirmation. Say it. You feel what I'm saying? Whatever you want to be in life, say it. Keep saying it to yourself. Don't speak failure into your existence. Speak prosperity into your existence. You feel what I'm saying? This is what you gotta speak into your existence. Like, I'm gonna be the greatest preacher ever, or I'm gonna be the greatest, NASCAR driver, basketball player, you know what I mean? Whatever it may be.
and it shall be opened unto you. Matthew chapter 7, verse 7. In the scriptures we read, concerning the works of my hands, command ye me. Infinite intelligence. God is ever ready to carry out man's smallest or greatest demand. Every desire, uttered or unexpressed, is a demand. We are often startled by having a wish suddenly fulfilled. For example, one Easter, having seen many beautiful rose trees in the florist's window, I wished I would receive one, and for an instant saw it mentally being carried in the door. Easter came, and with it a beautiful rose tree. I thanked my friend the following day and told her it was just what I had wanted. She replied, I didn't send you a rose tree. I sent you lilies. The man had mixed the order and sent me a rose tree simply because I had started the law in action. And I had to have a rose tree.
That's how it works.
Nothing stands between man and his highest ideals and every desire of his heart but doubt.
And like I said, I'm breaking this down for you because this is basically how I got my BMW 550. And I kept saying I wanted it. I really wanted it. I was putting in pictures. It was just so many BMWs coming to my way. Whereas though, basically, like I said, the dude basically gave me a BMW. He said he put $5,000 in parts in there, and he got too many cars, basically, and he just wanted to get rid of it. So he just like, man, just give me $5,000. I wanted $7,500 for it, you feel me? But I just give me $5,000. So I'm like, all right, I don't got $5,000. I got $200. You'll take it? He said, yeah, I give you take $200 and I'll do payments. I said, what? And yeah, that's how I went. So, the law of attraction. Speak what you want in your life into existence. It's that easy. This should hit 1 million views. Subscribe because it'll work. I promise you. It'll make you a millionaire. Even though I'm not a millionaire, it'll make you a millionaire if you keep preaching. Keep saying it.
Fear must be erased from the consciousness. It is man's only enemy. Fear of lack, fear of failure, fear of sickness, fear of loss, and a feeling of insecurity on some planet. Jesus Christ said, why are ye fearful, O ye of little faith? Matthew chapter 8.
And I actually need to re-listen to, this should be something I'm listening to every day. And unless probably dry because I'm smoking, but like I said, yeah, this should be something that I listen to every day. Because it'll make you, understand about what the law was saying and breaking it down in so many ways. You feel what I'm saying? That while you fearing, when you down and out and you bringing that, that negative vibe out instead of a positive vibe, always be positive. Either down, up, don't matter. Where you at in life should always be positive because the positivity of your mind thought will come upon you. Your negative thought will come upon you. So always be positive because you could be down and out one day and then your positivity the next day you be back. You know?
Verse 26. So we can see we must substitute faith for fear. For fear is only inverted faith. It is faith in evil instead of good. The object of the game of life is to see clearly one's good and to obliterate all mental pictures of evil. This must be done by impressing the subconscious mind with a realization of good. A very brilliant man who has attained great success told me he had suddenly erased all fear from his consciousness by reading a sign which hung in a room. He saw printed in large letters this statement: "Why worry? It will probably never happen." These words were stamped indelibly upon his subconscious mind, and he has now a firm conviction that only good can come into his life. Therefore, only good can manifest. In the following chapter, I will deal with the different methods of impressing the subconscious mind. It is man's faithful servant, but one must be careful to give it the right words. man has ever a silent listener at his side, his subconscious mind. Every thought, every word is impressed upon it and carried out in amazing detail. It is like a singer making a record on the sensitive disc of the phonographic plate. Every note and tone of the singer's voice is registered. If he talks or hesitates, it is registered also. So let us break all the old bad records in the subconscious mind, the records of our lives which we do not wish to keep, and make new and beautiful ones. Speak these words aloud with power and conviction. I now smash and demolish by my spoken words every untrue record in my subconscious mind.
Every untrue record
they shall return to the dust heap of their native nothingness, for they came from my own vain imagining. I now make my perfect records through the Christ within.
I now make my
the records of health, wealth,
Christ within.
Love, and perfect self-expression. This is the square of life. The game completed.
You gotta say this.
In the following chapters, I will show how man can change his conditions by changing his words.
You see this?
Man who does not know the power of the word is behind the time. Death and life are in the power of the tongue. Proverbs chapter 18, verse 21. Chapter 2, the law of prosperity. One of the greatest messages given to the race through the scriptures is that God is man's supply, and that man can release through his spoken word all that belongs to him by divine right. He must, however, have perfect faith in his spoken word. Isaiah said, "My word shall not return unto me void, but shall accomplish that where it is sent." We know now that words and thoughts are a tremendous vibratory force.
Meaning, if anybody speak into positive ways, positive thought, positive manifestation, then you'll, be more connected to God, and you'll be God. You feel what I'm saying? Because in so many ways, why I call myself God and you and everybody else to watch my video, why you're God or Goddess, is because of your positive ways that you have energy, you feel what I'm saying, through the sun. Everybody get their energy through the sun. And I'm going to keep saying this until y'all really get it. How do you manifest it? Like, once you figure out how you manifest a flower, or figure out, what makes you different from a flower. And if you say to yourself, I'm no different from a flower, then in that time only, then you'll be God. And you'll understand how in his book, when he said that you will find him under a rock, and how would you find him under a rock is only way is in everything in life, we all, have a life in it. You feel what I'm saying? Anything that have life in it, you find him, basically, in so many words.
For molding man's body and affairs. A woman came to me in great distress and said she was to be sued on the 15th of the month for $3,000. She knew no way of getting the money and was in distress.
I'm gonna make $1 million.
I told her God was her supply.
And God is your
supply for every demand. So I spoke the word. I gave thanks that the woman would receive $3,000 at the right time in the right way. I told her she must have perfect faith and act for perfect faith. The 15th came, but no money had materialized. She called me on the phone and asked what she was to do. I replied,
have faith.
It is Saturday, so they won't sue you today. Your part is to act rich, thereby showing perfect faith that you will receive it by Monday. She asked me to lunch with her to keep up her courage. When I joined her at a restaurant, I said, this is no time to economize. Order an expensive luncheon. Act as if you have already received the $3,000. All things whatsoever ye ask in prayer, believing, ye shall receive.
Sure,
you must
indeed.
act as if you have already received.
You gotta act like you already
The
rich.
next morning, she called me on the phone and asked me to stay with her during the day. I said, no, You are divinely protected, and God is never too late.
Never.
In the evening, she phoned again, greatly excited, and said, "My dear, a miracle has happened. I was sitting in my room this morning when the doorbell rang. I said to the maid, 'Don't let anyone in.' The maid, however, looked out the window and said, 'It's your cousin with a long white beard.' So I said, 'Call him back. I would like to see him.' He was just turning the corner when he heard the maid's voice, and he came back. We talked for about an hour, and just as he was leaving, he said, 'Oh, by the way, how are finances?'
I'm gonna make anybody to watch my video. I'm gonna make you rich if you mimic what is going on and what's been studied and who's been studied and how you become God. If you can manifest anything you say into the existence, meaning you could be broke, you could be a bum on the street, and you could say, keep saying to yourself, I'm gonna be rich, I'm gonna have $1 million, I'm gonna be the wealthiest man on this earth. And just keep saying it and believe and start to, play the role of the wealthiest man. You feel what I'm saying? And then it'll come upon you. This is how the law of attraction works. What goes up must come down. That's the law of the universe. So what you throw out must come back at you tenfold. Correct? You just gotta know how to use it and manipulate it. Because from what your words, and it's not really manipulating, it's, what you say out your mouth. You gotta be careful on what you say out your mouth, because your words.
I told him I needed the money.
Oh,
he
you?
said, "Why, my dear, I will give you $3,000 the first of the month."
And
I didn't like to tell him I was going to be sued.
$10,000.
So I do. I
Let
won't
me get
receive it till the first of the month,
$10,000.
and I must have it
Anybody
tomorrow.
that need to buy it tomorrow.
I'll keep on treating.
You gotta keep saying that. I
Spirit
really
is
need
never
$10,000
too
by
late.
tomorrow.
I give thanks she has received the money on the invisible plane and that it manifests on time. The next morning, her cousin called her up and said, "Come to my office this morning and I will give you the money." That afternoon, she had $3,000 to her credit in the bank.
And I'm gonna do the
and
same
wrote
thing.
checks as rapidly as
Just to show you, I'm broke. And I don't mind telling you, I'm broke. And I'm gonna try to do the same thing as well as y'all do. And I want you to subscribe me or like, put a comment on there if you actually follow through to the whole process of keep saying to your head, I'm gonna get $10,000, and just act on it like you already got $10,000. You feel what I'm saying? And just, we gonna do it together. I'm gonna do it with you. You feel what I'm saying? I ain't never did this. I actually did my BMW, and that's the first time I actually figured out that it's true. What you say, you can speak it to existence. This is how I speak to my BMW to existence. But now, I don't have $10,000. I would love to have $10,000. I would love to have 10,000 subscribers. You feel what I'm saying? You gotta speak this into existence, and this is what we about to do. So, if you with me, come on, let's go. We gonna, figure this shit out together.
as her excitement would permit. If one asks for success and prepares for failure, he will get the situation he is prepared for.
You gotta hear it out. So if you ask him for this $10,000, we gotta really show up. We can't say that we don't have it, nothing. We gotta really want it. We gotta really already act like we have it. There's no failure, doubt in your mind. You cannot have no doubt in your mind. That's one. Number one, no doubts. You want $10,000, you will get it. By tomorrow, by this week, whenever. Let's go.
For example, a man came to me asking me to speak the word that a certain debt would be wiped out. I found he spent his time planning what he would say to the man when he did not pay his bill, thereby neutralizing my word. He should have seen himself paying the debt. We have a wonderful illustration of this in the Bible, relating to the 3 kings who were in the desert, without water for their men and horses. They consulted the prophet Elisha, who gave them this astonishing message. Thus saith the Lord, ye shall not see wind, neither shall you see rain, yet make this valley full of ditches. Man must prepare for the thing he has asked for, when there isn't the slightest sign of it in sight. For example, A woman found it necessary to look for an apartment during the year when there was a great shortage of apartments in New York. It was considered almost an impossibility, and her friends were sorry for her and said, "Isn't it too bad? You'll have to store your furniture and live in a hotel."
Wow.
She replied, "You needn't feel sorry for me. I'm a Superman, and I'll get an apartment."
Yes.
She spoke the word.
Into
Infinite Spirit
existence.
opened the way for the right apartment. She knew
And I
there was
want
a
this
supply for every
$10,000.
demand,
And I'm going to speak that to
and that she
existence.
was unconditioned, working on the spiritual plane.
She just spoke her apartment into existence. She didn't have no way. Did you not hear the story? She had no way to get this apartment. Her homegirl said there was like, you know, you can be sleeping in an abandoned apartments and stuff like that. Like, don't worry about me. I'm gonna get it. I'm Superwoman. You feel what I'm saying? Like, yeah, you gotta speak what you want into existence. We gonna speak this $10,000 into existence. Let's go.
And that one with God is a majority. She had contemplated buying new blankets when the tempter, the adverse thought or reasoning mind, suggested, "Don't buy the blankets. Perhaps after all you won't get an apartment and you will have no use for them." She promptly replied to herself, "I'll dig my ditches by buying the blankets." So she prepared for the apartment, acted as though she already had it. She found one in a miraculous way, and it was given to her although there were over 200 other applicants.
Just did good.
The blankets showed active faith. It is needless to say that the ditches dug by the three kings in the desert were filled to overflowing. Read 2 Kings. Getting into the spiritual swing of things is no easy matter for the average person. The adverse thoughts of doubt.
Don't think this is something I'm normally doing. I'm new to this, and this is probably my first video just basically talking to myself. Cause only me and my fish here, and this video recording shit, this recording me, so this is really hard to do. So I understand about any YouTube person to sit there and just talk to the fucking screen. Like, this is like, you hear me? But hopefully you get the message. This is why I'm doing it. I want you to get the message, and we're going to do this together to get this $10,000.
Doubt and fear surge from the subconscious. They are the army of the aliens, which must be put to flight. This explains why it is so often darkest before the dawn. A big demonstration is usually preceded by tormenting thoughts. Having made a statement of high spiritual truth, one challenges the old beliefs in the subconscious, and error is exposed to be put out. This is the time when one must make his affirmations of truth repeatedly, and rejoice and give thanks that he has already received.
Thank you. I got
Before
this
ye call,
$10,000.
I shall answer.
I thank you. You gave me this $10,000.
Every good
Thank you
and
so much. You
perfect
gave me
gift
$10,000.
is already man's awaiting his recognition.
So now, that was number 2. You can't see anything to doubt, any doubt in your mind. Number 1. Number 2, you gotta thank him, or thank the universe for giving you the $10,000, even though you don't have it yet. So thank you for giving me the $10,000. I thank you for giving me 10,000 subscribers.
Man can only receive what he sees himself receive. The children of Israel were told that they could have all the land they could see. This is true of every man. He has only the land within his own mental vision. Every great work, every big accomplishment has been brought into manifestation through holding to the vision. And often just before the big achievement comes apparent failure and discouragement. The children of Israel, when they reached the promised land, were afraid to go in, for they said it was filled with giants who made them feel like grasshoppers. And there we saw the giants, and we were in our own sight as grasshoppers. This is almost every man's experience. However, the one who knows spiritual law is undisturbed by appearance and rejoices while he is yet in captivity. That is, he holds to his vision and gives thanks that the end is accomplished. He has received. Jesus Christ gave a wonderful example of this. He said to his disciples, "Say not ye, there are yet 4 months, and then cometh the harvest. Behold, I say unto you, lift up your eyes and look on the field, for they are ripe already to harvest. His clear vision.
Robinhood is an investing app that lets you buy and sell stocks, ETFs, and cryptocurrencies.
Vision pierced the world of matter, and he saw clearly the fourth dimensional world, things as they really are, perfect and complete in divine mind. So man must ever hold the vision of his journey's end and demand the manifestation of that which he has already received. It may be his perfect health, love, supply, self-expression, home, or friend. They are all finished and perfect ideas registered in divine mind, man's own superconscious mind, and must come through him, not to him. For example, a man came to me asking for treatments for success. It was imperative that he raise $50,000 for his business. The time limit was almost up when he came to me in despair. No one wanted to invest in his enterprise, and the bank had flatly refused a loan. I replied, I suppose you lost your temper while at the bank, therefore your power.
Yeah.
You can control any situation if you first control yourself. Go back to the bank, I added, and I will treat. My treatment was, you are identified in love with the spirit of everyone connected with the bank. Let the divine idea come out of this situation. He replied, woman, you are talking about an impossibility. Tomorrow is Saturday. The bank closes at 12, and my train won't get me there until 10, and the time limit is up tomorrow. And anyway, they won't do it. It's too late.
Too many.
I replied, God doesn't need any time, and is never too late.
Never.
With him, all things are possible.
All day.
I added,
I'm gonna get this
I don't know
$10,000.
anything
I
about
already
business,
have it. Thank you.
but I know all about God. He replied, it all sounds fine when I see her listening to you, but when I go out, it's terrible. He lived in a distant city, and I did not hear from him for a week. Then came a letter. It read, you were right. I raised the money and will never again doubt the truth of all that you told me. I saw him a few weeks later, and I said, what happened? You evidently had plenty of time after all. He replied, my train was late, and I got there just 15 minutes to 12. I walked into the bank quietly and said, I have come for the loan. And they gave it to me without a question. It was the last 15 minutes of the time allotted to me, and infinite spirit was not too late. In this instance, the man could never have demonstrated alone. He needed someone to help him hold to the vision. This is what one man can do for another. Jesus Christ knew the truth of this when he said, if two of you shall agree on earth as touching anything that they shall ask, it shall be done for them of my Father which is in heaven. One gets too close to his own affairs and becomes doubtful and fearful. The friend or healer sees clearly the success, health, or prosperity and never wavers because he is not close to the situation. It is much easier to demonstrate for someone else than for one's self. So a person should not hesitate to ask for help if he feels himself wavering. A keen observer of life once said, no man can fail if some one person sees him successful. Such is the power of the vision, and many a great man owed his success to a wife or sister or a friend who believed in him and held without wavering to the perfect.
Meaning, anybody that you know of being rich, famous, anything like that, someone had to take initiative to see success into this person. It could be Lil Wayne, anybody that's famous. You still got 5 people behind them that's writing and doing everything they gotta do to make this man successful. So, you feel what I'm saying? That's what anybody that's famous or anybody, you know what I mean, in life, they got successful. How they got successful is someone took an idea and took, a liking to this person so they could be successful and, they show their success from this person, you feel what I'm saying? So, yeah.
Perfect pattern. Chapter 3, the power of the word. A person knowing the power of the word becomes very careful of his conversation. He has only to watch the reaction of his words to know that they do not return void. Through his spoken word, man is continually making laws for himself. I knew a man who said, "I always miss a car. It invariably pulls out just as I arrive." His daughter said, "I always catch a car. It's sure to come just as I get there." This occurred for years. Each one had made a separate law for himself, one of failure, one of success. This is the psychology of superstition. The horseshoe or rabbit's foot contains no power, but man's spoken word and belief that it will bring good luck creates expectancy in the subconscious mind and attracts a lucky situation. I find, however, this will not work when man has advanced spiritually and knows a higher law. One cannot turn back and must put away graven images. For example, 2 men in my class had great success in business for several months, when suddenly everything went to smack. We tried to analyze the situation, and I found instead of making their affirmations and looking to God for success and prosperity, they had each bought a lucky monkey. I said, "Oh, I see. You have been trusting in the lucky monkeys instead of God. Put away the lucky monkeys and call on the law of forgiveness. For man has power to forgive or neutralize his mistakes." They decided to throw the lucky monkeys down a coal hole, and all went well again. This does not mean, however, that one should throw away every lucky ornament or horseshoe about the house, but he must recognize the power back of it is the one and only power, God, and that the object simply gives him a feeling of experience.
You got to think about what what gives off good vibrations, and that's crystals, right? So how do you generate energy to give off energy to us from a crystal? And you have to have sunlight. It had to be in sunlight, you feel what I'm saying? Or you have to have enough positive energy in yourself to give it the crystal back energy, or get it from the main source, the sun. Sit the crystal in the sun and you'll get energy through the crystal. This is how you'll energize your crystal again, you feel what I'm saying? So yeah, you gotta think about it, you feel what I'm saying? The same way the crystal get energy, it gives us energy through the sun.
Expectancy. I was with a friend one day who was in deep despair. In crossing the street, she picked up a horseshoe. Immediately, she was filled with joy and hope. She said God had sent her the horseshoe in order to keep up her courage. It was indeed at that moment about the only thing that could have registered in her consciousness. Her hope became faith, and she ultimately made a wonderful demonstration. I wish to make the point clear that the men previously mentioned were depending on the monkeys alone, while this woman recognized the power back of the horseshoe. I know in my own case, it took a long while to get out of a belief that a certain thing brought disappointment. If the thing happened, disappointment invariably followed. I found the only way I could make a change in the subconscious was by asserting there are not 2 powers. There is only one power, God. Therefore, there are not disappointments, and this thing means a happy surprise. I noticed a change at once, and happy surprises commenced coming my way. I have a friend who said nothing could induce her to walk under a ladder. I said, if you are afraid, you are giving into a belief in 2 powers, good and evil, instead of one. As God is absolute, there can be no opposing power.
No evil.
Unless man makes the boss of evil for himself.
Right.
To show you believe
make up
only
your
one
own
power,
destiny.
God, and that there is no power or reality in evil, walk under the next ladder you see. Soon after, she went to her bank. She wished to open her box in the safety deposit vault, and there stood a ladder on her pathway. It was impossible to reach the box without passing under the ladder. She quailed with fear and turned back. She could not face the lion on her pathway. However, when she reached the street, my words rang in her ears, and she decided to return and walk under it. It was a big moment in her life, for ladders had held her in bondage for years. She retraced her steps to the vault, and the ladder was no longer there. This so often happens. If one is willing to do a thing he is afraid to do, he does not have to. It is the law of non-resistance, which is so little understood. Someone has said that courage contains genius and magic. Face a situation fearlessly, and there is no situation to face. It falls away of its own weight. The explanation is that fear attracted the ladder on the woman's pathway, and fearlessness removed it.
Right.
Thus, the invisible forces are ever working for man, who is always pulling the strings himself, though he does not know it. Owing to the vibratory power of words, whatever man voices, he begins to attract. People who continually speak of disease invariably attract it. After man knows the truth, he cannot be too careful of his words. For example, I have a friend who often says on the phone, "Do come to see me and have an old-fashioned chat." This old-fashioned chat means an hour of about 500 to 1,000 destructive words, the principal topics being loss, lack, failure, and sickness. I reply, "No, I thank you. I've had enough old-fashioned chats in my life. They are too expensive. But I will be glad to have a new-fashioned chat and talk about what we want, not what we don't want." There is an old saying that man only dares use his words for three purposes: to heal,
11-11.
bless, or prosper. What man says of others will be said of him.
11-11. It's funny, as you see on the clock, I always screenshot it. 11-11. And how you know, or 11-12, that's another angel number. That's how I know the angels is always around me. You can go research these numbers, you feel what I'm saying? And I must be doing something right, because that's why these numbers appear up to me all the time.
Curses, like chickens, come home to roost. If a man wishes someone bad luck, he is sure to attract bad luck himself. If he wishes to aid someone to success, he is wishing and aiding himself to success. The body may be renewed and transformed through the spoken word and clear vision, and disease be completely wiped out of the consciousness. The metaphysician knows that all disease has a mental correspondence, and in order to heal the body, one must first heal the soul. The soul is the subconscious mind, and it must be saved from wrong thinking. In the 23rd Psalm, we read, "He restoreth my soul." This means that the subconscious mind or soul must be restored with the right ideas.
Right.
And the mystical marriage is the marriage of the soul and the spirit, or the subconscious and superconscious mind. They must be one. When the subconscious is flooded with the perfect ideas of the superconscious, God and man are one. I and the Father are one. That is, he is one with the realm of perfect ideas.
Right.
He is the man made in God's likeness and image, imagination, and is given power and dominion over all created things, his mind, body, and affairs. It is safe to say that all sickness and unhappiness come from the violation of the law of love. A new commandment I give unto you: love one another. And in the game of life, love or goodwill takes every trick. For example, a woman I know had for years an appearance of a terrible skin disease. The doctors told her it was incurable, and she was in despair. She was on the stage, and she feared she would soon have to give up her profession, and she had no other means of support. She, however, procured a good engagement, and on the opening night, made a great hit. She received flattering notices from the critics, and was joyful and elated. The next day, she received a notice of dismissal. A man in the cast had been jealous of her success, and had caused her to be sent away. She felt hatred and resentment taking complete possession of her, and she cried out, "Oh God, don't let me hate that man." That night, she worked for hours in the silence. She said, "I soon came into a very deep silence. I seemed to be at peace with myself, with the man, and with the whole world." I continued this for 2 following nights, and on the 3rd day I found I was healed completely of the skin disease. In asking for love or goodwill, she had fulfilled the law, for love is the fulfilling of the law. And the disease, which came from subconscious resentment, was wiped out. Continual criticism produces rheumatism as critical. Inharmonious thoughts cause unnatural deposits in the blood, which settle in the joints. False growths are caused by jealousy, hatred, unforgiveness, fear, etc. Every disease is caused by a mind not at ease. I said once in my class, there is no use asking anyone, "What's the matter with you?" You might just as well say, "Who's the matter with you?" Unforgiveness is the most prolific cause of disease. It will harden arteries or liver and affect the eyesight. In its train are endless ills. I called on a woman one day who said she was ill from having eaten a poisoned oyster. I replied, "Oh no, the oyster was harmless. You poisoned the oyster. What's the matter with you?" She answered, "Oh, about 19 people." She had quarreled with 19 people and had become so inharmonious that she attracted the wrong oyster. Any inharmony on the external indicates there is mental inharmony. As the within, so the without. Man's only enemies are within himself, and a man's foes shall be they of his own household.
So she thought that the oyster was poisonous and literally poisoned 19 people that was with her, because you are the same as these 19 people. So you poison this one oyster to poison everybody else, because we all one.
Personality is one of the last enemies to be overcome, as this planet is taking its initiation in love. It was Christ's message, peace on earth, goodwill towards man. The enlightened man, therefore, endeavors to perfect himself upon his neighbor. His work is with himself, to send out goodwill and blessings to every man. And the marvelous thing is that if one blesses a man, he has no power to harm him. For example, a man came to me asking to treat for success in business. He was selling machinery, and a rival appeared on the scene with what he proclaimed was a better machine, and my friend feared defeat. I said, first of all, we must wipe out all fear and know that God protects your interest, and that the divine idea must come out of the situation. That is, the right machine will be sold by the right man to the right man. And I add, don't hold one critical thought towards that man. Bless him all day, and be willing not to sell your machine if it isn't the divine idea. So we went to the meeting, fearless and non-resistant, in blessing the other man. He said the outcome was very remarkable. The other man's machine refused to work. He sold his without the slightest difficulty. But I say unto you, love your enemies, bless them that curse you, do good to them that hate you, and pray for them which spitefully use you and persecute you. Goodwill produces a great aura of protection about the one who sends it, and no weapon that is formed against him shall prosper. In other words, love and goodwill destroy the enemies with one's self. Therefore, one has no enemies on the external. There is peace on earth for him who sends goodwill to man. Chapter 4, the law of non-resistance. Nothing on earth can resist an absolutely non-resistant person. The Chinese say that water is the most powerful element because it is perfectly non-resistant.
I said this.
It can wear away a rock and sweep all before it. Jesus Christ said, resist not evil. For he knew in reality there is no evil, therefore nothing to resist. Evil has come of man's vain imagination,
Negative.
or belief
No
in
negative.
two powers,
You need
good
negative.
and evil. There is an old legend that Adam and Eve ate of Maya, the tree of illusion, and saw two powers instead of one power, God. Therefore, evil is a false law man has made for himself through psychoma or soul sleep. Soul sleep means that man's soul has been hypnotized by the race belief of sin, sickness, and death, etc., which is carnal or mortal thought, and his affairs have outpictured his illusions. We have read in a preceding chapter that man's soul is his subconscious mind, and whatever he feels deeply, good or bad, is outpictured by that faithful servant. His body and affairs show forth what he has been picturing. The sick man has pictured sickness, the poor man poverty, the rich man wealth. People often say, why does a little child attract illness when it is too young even to know what it means? I answer that children are sensitive and receptive to the thoughts of others about them, and often outpicture the fears of their parents. I heard a metaphysician once say, if you do not run your subconscious mind yourself, someone else will run it for you. Mothers often unconsciously attract illness and disaster to their children by...
Robinhood is an investing
We're gonna
app
let that
lets you
slide
buy
for
and
the day and subscribe, like. We'll be back next time. Bless, pieces, love, shalom. And see you again. I'm in the BM. I do all kind of videos, as you did know.